Hi there, Erin Lee here of heavenlymessenger.com, and this is Connection with Intention. Today is Tuesday, October the 21st, 2025, and I'm so incredibly grateful that you've joined me this evening. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Erin Lee of heavenlymessenger.com. I'm a psychic and angel card reader. I practice and teach Reiki and practice a variety of other energy healing techniques and modalities as well. And on a rather sporadic basis, we hop on in the evenings and we do Connection with Intention. And so all of the Connection with Intention shows have the same kind of flow. We start off by talking about like what's going on energetically, some themes that have been popping up. We head into the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading, and then we segue into mini readings for people who are live on the stream with me. You are more than welcome to say hello and welcome in the comments. I'm not taking any questions just yet, so please hold on to your questions for a little bit. Let me just see. There's my chat. And yeah, so we'll quickly get started. I'm just going to go through the people who've already started commenting. We have Andrea. Good evening. Hello. It's so good to see you. And Ishika. Hey, it's great to see you. Inspired to Create. Hello. I'm so grateful that you're on this evening. And oh no, I know exactly who you are, and I know that I'm going to misspell the name that you have up here. So hello from Ontario. It's great to see you too. Hello, Becky. It's great to see you. And Nikki, hi. And I love how Nikki's caption says that there's a hand pink waving. So hand pink waving right back. Becky, it's so incredible to see you this evening too. I'm grateful that you're on. And Brianne, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. So tonight, and actually I believe that it was at about 7 o'clock this morning, so we're already kind of past, but we're still very much in the energy of the new moon. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that I love working with the energy of the moon. The energy with the new moon right now, which is what we are currently in, is all about manifesting. It's about creating. It's planting seeds. It's beginnings. We've cleared out what no longer serves us, what no longer supports us, and we're inviting new in. So recently, back in I think August, when I started getting back into doing Connection with Intention on a somewhat regular basis, I also started an email newsletter. And if you head over to my website, heavenlee, Lee, messenger.com, I'm in the process of updating it, but I've got the spot where you can sign up for the email newsletter if you want to receive that. And basically, I just send it out a couple of days before we go live so that you have the links on Facebook and YouTube so you can join us. It's easy to find. And in this particular one, I included the card decks that I usually use. You may notice that I'm not in my usual locale. I'm actually sitting in my parents' kitchen right now. And I wasn't able to access one of the decks of cards that I said that I was going to have. I've got my standbys. These are the Archangel Oracle card deck. They're the yellow deck. We've got the standbys with the blue deck, which is the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle card deck. And usually I have the green deck, the Messages from Your Angels, but I wasn't able to reach it. My house is still kind of chaotic after having a couple of weeks worth of soap making classes in my house. And I can't get to my office, and I also couldn't get to my card decks very easily, but I had these ones by Kyle Gray hanging out. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll just bring those along. And then I was kind of flipping through them. I'm like, oh, I'm not really confident with using these for readings online, but I'm going to choose just one card. So kind of out of the deck, from the middle of the deck, I pulled out this beautiful card. I'm like, oh man, that's a gorgeous card. I wonder who it is. And it's Archangel Haniel. And again, if you've been with me for a while, you may realize why I found that kind of funny. Archangel Haniel is so closely connected with the moon and the lunar cycle. She helps and supports us with developing and understanding our intuition. And she helps us to invite and experience, to find and to create joy in our lives. And I thought, man, what a beautiful reminder and confirmation of the things that I wanted to talk about with you this evening. So I'm just going to read the message that's here on the back of Archangel Haniel's card. Trust what is coming to you. Hold on. Trust what is coming to you, for the information is absolutely a glimpse of the future. Your psychic gifts are heightened at the moment, and it's essential for you to take the time to record what is coming from within. As a reminder, nothing is set in stone, and therefore, if your intentions change, you can absolutely rewrite what is to come. But you are receiving information that will serve you on your way. The activation, because this is an angelic activations deck, I trust my intuition and psychic gifts. And that felt like that was a beautiful and an amazing message for all of us to share this evening. So welcome to tonight's Connection with Intention. So as I was putting out information and messages about the things that we were going to be talking about this evening, I wanted to talk a little bit about connecting and harnessing some of the energy of the new moon in order to be able to manifest and to create. So for me, when it comes to manifestation, I always want to start by clearing out what's no longer serving. So these could be things that I was working on creating in the past that maybe didn't come to fruition, or did come to fruition and like that's complete, or it wasn't serving what it was needing to serve, or maybe things that have just kind of run their course. This can be on a mental, emotional, physical, energetic levels. So whenever I do any sort of manifestation, I always start with releasing. And in releasing, I'm creating room and space for new. So releasing could also be things that are occupying my mind, or things that are occupying my heart with heaviness. And maybe I'm able to sit down and say, hey, this thing that's been going back and forth, and it's been consuming a lot of my time, energy, and other resources. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't support me. It doesn't support what I'm moving forward with. And so are there things that I can do to help to eliminate that? So releasing is not only saying like, hey, see ya, I'm done. Releasing is also going through the mental and the emotional process of, okay, well, are there things that are left over that I need to tie up in order to be able to move on and to be able to move forward from this? And then I also like to move through forgiving. And this is particularly true when there are relationships, circumstances, or situations that I'm moving on from in whatever way, shape, or form, whether it's me making the decision or there's somebody or something outside of me that's making the decision. I always like to go into forgiveness, because whatever has happened, I don't want to be tied down to that energy anymore. And in most cases, in all cases, I don't want the other person to be tied down by that either, because I want both of us to be able to move on and to move forward. Because for me, that's a healthy way to go about things. And so I offer forgiveness first and foremost to myself. And so sometimes it's for staying in situation longer than I needed to stay, or not honoring myself, my feelings, my needs, or prioritizing other people's wants over my needs. So there are a lot of different things that you can do for forgiveness for yourself, and then forgiveness for others in the situation. And forgiveness can be as simple as coming into a place of compassion, recognizing that we all do the best that we can with the resources that we have. And sometimes the resources that we have are very different from the resources that other people have. And also going through our lives, sometimes we have lots of resources and other times we don't. And when I talk about resources, I'm not talking only about like money and finances, because often that's what people equate resources to, but I'm talking about time and energy, compassion, learning, knowledge, understanding. There are a whole pile of different aspects to resources beyond just money and material. And then once we've cleaned the slate, and I literally see this, you guys know the movies where they come to like a really passionate scene, and they're like in an office, and somebody sweeps everything off of the desk, and then they kind of get it on the desk. Um, we're not taking creation to that level, but like that whole sweeping motion, like getting everything out of the way, is a big part of how I see like clearing the slate and cleaning the slate. Is like just everything is gone. It's just it's fresh, it's new. What are we going to plant here? What are we going to start here? And that's the energy that we're currently in right now. Is everything is very fertile in this moment, and whatever it is that we choose to focus our energy, our attention, our resources into has the ultimate and the ideal soil to be coming to fruition in. And so I invite you over the next couple of days, because the energy of the new moon exists for a couple of days before and a couple of days after, to release what no longer serves, to offer forgiveness to yourself and to anybody else that you may be holding on to, and to focus on what it is that you're wanting to build. What is it that you're wanting to create? And start planting those seeds, setting those intentions, possibly doing some goal planning, and putting energy into what you're wanting to see, feel, and experience in this time moving forward. Beautiful. Let me just see here. I want to go through the comments because we've got lots here. Holy smokes, guys. Let me catch up here. Becky, I'm so grateful that you were on tonight. And Brianne, it's great to see you. Ola from Kevin, hello, welcome. Leanne, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. And Deidre, hello. It's great to see you from Campbell River. Hi, Mama from Drew. Hi, Drew. And Steve, I knew that it was you. I could see your face in my mind, and I just didn't know how to pronounce your profile name. And Sarah says hello to everyone. So you may only be seeing some of the comments because we're live right now on Facebook and YouTube. So Sarah's saying hello to everybody from Facebook. Maxine, hello. She's got my name in capitals with a whole pile of exclamation marks. It's so good to see you. Hello. And hello to Michelle. Rebecca, hi. And to Pam, welcome. And Deidre says that she loves the green duck. I'm so sorry that I don't have it for you this evening. It is in a very safe place. Debbie, good evening. It's so good to see you. I'm so grateful that you're enjoying the live. And hello to Kathy and Tanya. Kisses back to you. Alyssa, happy Tuesday to you as well. Thanks for joining us. Let me see. Steve is saying that he's working in the morning because it's 10 a.m. here. He's back east, but would love to contact for a reading. Absolutely. Just hop onto my website, bookingwitherin.com. That's how I schedule all of my readings. You can choose phone or Zoom. You can choose the date and time that works for you. Bookingwitherin.com is the best place to go. Susan, hello, welcome. And Bobby, hi, it's been a while. It's great to see you. And Andrea's just laughing at me. That's cool. Probably the table clearing, the desk clearing. Christine, hello. It's so good to see you too. Thanks for joining us. MJ, it's so great to see you. Hold on to your question. We're not taking them just yet, but I would love to connect about that for you because you know I love talking about romance. Melissa, it's so good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And thank you, Maxine. I appreciate that. Edna, it's so good to see you. Thank you for hopping on. And same with you, Pat. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Wonderful. So without further ado, let's move into the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading. So if you're on the mailing list, you already know the crystals that we have for this evening. And if you aren't on the email list but want to be, head over to my website, heavenlymessenger.com. So the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading works like this. You think of a question that you would like an answer or some guidance for, and ask which crystal best represents the message that you're to receive this evening. So starting from left to right, we have clear quartz, obsidian, and rose quartz. So just think about your question. And of course, you're welcome to ask more than one question. And just ask which crystal best represents or will have the message, because I'm going to be pulling the cards. Which crystal with the message best represents what I need to hear about this situation right now? And when it comes to wording things, you can be open, like, what do I need to know about work right now, or what do I need to know about my love life? I like questions that are kind of like, what do I need to know? All right, so I'm just going to pull. We're pulling from. Oh, okay. I was going to pull them all from this deck, but I'm hearing that I'm to pull one from the other deck. So, so I'm just going to pull this down. So again, clear quartz, obsidian, and rose quartz. And you guys might need to remind me, because I'm going to pull this down. Let me see, Drew, I just saw your question. If you want to hold on to it and wait until how do I pull this down? Wait until we move on to that section. I would love to answer that for you. Okay, so if you've chosen rose quartz, clear quartz. The message that we have for you is Archangel Jophiel, and it's all about clearing your space. Get rid of clutter, clear the energy around you, and use feng shui. And all of these things are very physical, and that totally makes sense. Like if your space is physically cluttered, then our energy becomes really cluttered as well. There's lots that's kind of happening, that's going on. It can block us and prevent more from coming in. So again, like the whole releasing and forgiving that we talked about earlier, this is coming front and center. But this is also talking about, where are the drains on your energy? And, sometimes we have responsibilities or obligations that we need to hold on to, regardless of whether they are draining us. I just heard work. So we all need to work in order to support ourselves and to do the things that we need to do. But so even though it's draining, but maybe there are changes that need to happen with that situation. So maybe there's something that you can do so that it isn't as draining, or maybe this is kind of a sign to say like, hey, maybe we need to start looking at something else, at other opportunities. So the message that's come up for you, if you chose clear quartz, is to clear your space. And I'm also hearing with clear quartz, it also helps to raise your energy and vibration. So if you've been feeling really down, or if you've been feeling scattered, or you've been feeling depressed or unmotivated, see this as a message to help you not only like raise your energy and vibration, so how you're feeling, how you're interacting, but also to get rid of stuff that isn't working for you, that isn't serving you, isn't supporting you. If you chose the black obsidian, oh, I love this card. The message that we have for you is Archangel Michael, and it's you are safe. And I find it really interesting because obsidian is like an incredibly powerful crystal for protection, for protecting your energy, and for preventing psychic attack in particular. I am protecting you against lower energies and guarding you, your loved ones, and your home. So when this card comes up, it's saying, hey, like you are safe. It is safe to release, to clear, to let go, but also to start moving forward. And potentially this moving forward has you putting yourself out there, maybe moving outside of your comfort zone. And Michael's coming in and saying like, hey, you're safe, you're supported, do that thing. Archangel Michael also helps and supports us on our life path. So making choices that are helping to align us more with the things that we're meant to be doing, the people we're meant to be connecting with. So if there's anything that's been popping up for you that's encouraging you, that's pushing you to move outside your comfort zone, know that Archangel Michael is here helping and supporting you. And again, I think it's so interesting that this card comes up with the obsidian, because it is all about protection and being safe. And Archangel Michael is just reaffirming that message. So this is the card. If you chose rose quartz, this is the card that came up that said, hey, we need to be chosen from the other decks. So this is the mermaids and dolphins. And the card here is contemplation time. Oops. almost lost it. Um, Spend time alone meditating upon what you truly desire. And so it's interesting because, again, like rose quartz is all about your heart. It's about unconditional love and being supported. And contemplation time is really talking about kind of getting back to your heart. What is it that your heart wants and needs? What is it that you want and need? And so it's saying, let's not rush into making choices, into taking chances, but let's get really clear about what it is that we want. And the contemplation time is helping to guarantee that there aren't a lot of distractions that are pulling you in different directions, so that you are able to connect with your heart, with your soul, with your higher self, with your angels, God's source universe, ascended masters, your guides, whoever, whatever you work with. Contemplation time is saying, like, let's connect on that level and make sure that we're really getting to the heart of the matter. No pun intended with the rose quartz. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. So let me just see here. Okay. Beautiful. If you guys want to start putting your questions in the comments, I know we had a couple of people who were asking earlier. Now is the time. Please put your questions in. And I'll just say hello again to Drew. It's great to see you. We've got 2 Drews on this evening. Pam, it's wonderful to see you. And Catherine, hello. Thanks for joining us. Wonderful. Oh, there you go. Heidi. Heidi's got our first question here. My intuition. Oops. Oh, whoa. Everybody's popping up. Okay. Heidi says, my intuition knows that my success and financial abundance is on its way and that a soulmate is on his way and it will be divine timing. But can you see a sneak peek of who, when, and how, and where? Okay. Okay. We've got a whole pile of questions. Let me see what I've got coming up for you this evening. Okay, so okay, we've got a couple of different questions here. What am I looking at? We've got, financial abundance, but also soulmate. So I'm going to choose one of those because they do feel like they're separate, even though there is an intertwining. I'm really being pulled first and foremost to be talking about financial stability, success, and abundance, because it almost feels like at that point, once that's in place, your energy is up here and the soulmate comes in really quickly and easily. And I'm kind of seeing like a 3 to 6 month timeline and time frame for the soulmate. So the soulmate isn't actually the part that I'm worried about because that just pops in. So looking at financial abundance, it does feel like we've got some ups and downs, which is interesting because it feels like you've got work, I'm going to say, that's feeling really stable, steady, and consistent. And so it's interesting that we've got bumps up and down, and it almost feels like there's something else that you're doing on top of something that you're already doing. So we've got at least 2 things on the go with a 3rd thing that's coming in. Those 2 things are what are helping you to move forward from that stable, steady, consistent thing. There's a change that's happening there. It's by your choice. It feels like we've got, I want to say, like a dropping down. So there's still some stability and connection that's coming in from that, but it feels like you're choosing to drop down so you aren't as busy. So say, for example, you're currently working like a full-time 40-hour week. It feels like you're dropping down within kind of the next 6 months to something that looks like it's more like 20 plus hours a week. And it feels like there's still that stability and consistency. And then we've got this other thing, these 2 other things that are kind of popping along on top. I am hearing meditation as being important. I don't know if that's one of the things that you're doing, offering, and that's directly generating money and revenue for you, but it does feel like it's part of your personal practice and that's part of what's helping to get you going. Part of what I see is often we've got this big highway here on the island where I live. It's the Inland Island Highway, and basically it's 120, depending on who you are, kilometers when you drive it, and there's this really steep on-ramp not too far from where I am. And so you really have to kind of gun it to go from like the 30 or whatever you were doing as you were turning the corner to get up to be able to merge. And that's a big part of how I see things happening. If you think of that big highway where you're going 110, 120 kilometers an hour as being like life, when life is in synchronistic flow, and then you're building up to get up into that and then to merge into that. But once you're in it, then you're able to, put on your cruise control, and you stay pretty consistent. And even if there are little blips that kind of bring you up and down, you're able, because you're not going down that far, you're able to kind of pop back up. It feels like that's what you're starting to enter into. And I am seeing your meditative practices as being part of that. And it's interesting because what that's doing is that's flowing out into all areas of your life. That's flowing out into financial success and stability. It's part of what's flowing into relationship and partnership. And so it feels like that's what you're doing. So I want to focus kind of less on the things that are coming, and I want to focus on more about what's getting you up there, because once you get up there, you kind of have a lot of choices as to what you do, and if you decide to turn off and move on to a new highway. So I'm seeing meditation coming up as being a really, really important part of that, because it's helping to lift your energy and vibration, and stuff is just kind of falling off, falling away, and new opportunities are presenting themselves. When we were talking initially first about like partnership and soulmate and relationship, I had like a 3 to 6 months that was popping up, and that 6-month timeline and time frame continues to pop up for me. So it feels like we've got some like lifting up that you're continuing to do, because I see you already doing that. And that we've got some shifts that are happening kind of in that 3 to 6 month timeline. The partnership comes later. We just had a card pop out for you, Heidi, and it's the pay attention card. Notice repetitious signs and your inner guidance, as this can yield valuable information. So one of the other things that happens when we are in that place, when we are meditating on a regular and consistent basis, is we become more self-aware of the things that are happening within us and around us. It's easier to identify what works and what doesn't, because we feel it. It can be a very visceral feeling and sensation. And so that's I think one of the really helpful aspects of developing your intuition, is because you learn to recognize how it feels when something feels off, when something feels wrong. And it helps you to make choices and decisions that promote more of the good feelings, which then again help to lift you up to get onto that highway for things to move smoothly. So keep paying attention and keep doing what you're doing. But it does feel like the next 6 months and slightly beyond are where things are really starting to come together for you, Heidi. And I'm really excited about that for you. I'm so grateful that you joined us this evening, and I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Kathy, hello, it's great to see you. Do you see my daughter being busy with her work for the rest of the year? Yeah, for the rest of the year and well into the spring is what I'm seeing. So when I connect with the energy of your daughter, I'm seeing like go, go, go. So there's lots that's happening. There's lots that's coming in, lots that's going out. And part of what I'm seeing is that she is making things happen. So it feels like this may be a time when things kind of dip for her, and there's kind of this energy that's coming up. It's like, no, things are not going to be dipping. And I'm seeing that there's a really strong creative energy that's coming up around how she's approaching things. So it feels like that's part of how work is shifting for her, is that she's approaching it from a different perspective, a different angle, particularly if this tends to be a little bit of a slower time for her as well. And it's that different shift, that different perspective that's bringing things together. There's something that's coming up around video and things that she's doing, and there's some community outreach that she's doing as well. So there may also be some things that are not directly tied to her work that are going to really put a spotlight on her, that are going to have a really beneficial result. a really beneficial result on the work that she's doing. So it does feel like it's busy. It feels like it's busy right through until March, and then it just picks right up again. I almost want to say, make sure that she's slowing down to take some time for herself, to make sure that she's able to maintain the level of energy that's going out, because there's just so much that's going out. And I also want to encourage a visualization process for her as well. One of the things that I used to do when I first started doing this work is I had a spreadsheet where I would kind of track all of the appointments that I would have. And this would be what I would use for my bookkeeping and for my taxes to declare the revenue that I had coming in. And then it wasn't technically cooking the books because I didn't use this to declare my taxes, but I created a completely separate spreadsheet that was exactly the same as the one that I did use. And what I would do is I'd put in the appointments that I wanted or needed to be able to support myself. So it might be 1 week I'd have X number of hour readings and whatever. And I'm seeing your daughter doing something similar. And I'm also hearing something about year over year improvement. So I'm seeing that she's doing better this year than she did last, and the year before, and the year before that. Let's just see. We've got, oh, this is interesting. So we've got the soulmate relationship card that's coming up. New romance with a spiritual basis is here for you now. This wasn't a romantic question, and I don't see that being where this is coming from. I actually see this being more relationship and connection between herself and her higher self. And so I feel like then we're also going more into that manifestation energy. It's kind of like, all right, soul, all right, higher self, like we're here to have these certain experiences. Let's work together. How can I best do this? And so I'm seeing that there's some like energetic work that she's doing for herself, and there's this connection with soul and self to get things moving. So yes, it's going to be quite busy for her through the next several months and into the spring of next year. Kathy, it's always such a pleasure connecting with you. I'm so grateful that you joined us. Sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and to your daughter too. You guys, I don't know if this is hot flashing or if this is just because the kitchen's crazy hot, but excuse me, I am just boiling over here. My glasses keep sliding down my nose. Okay, Becky, thank you for your patience. So Becky's saying, I'd love some guidance on doing voiceover work. Ooh, cool. I've recently tapped into this fun artistry and wondering if the platforms I've put my profile on will bring in work for me using my voice for meditations, commercials, etc. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Yes, it's interesting because I'm wanting to encourage you to do some meditations and possibly some readings on your own. I'm not exactly sure how that's working, but it feels like you're doing something on your own. I don't know if these are like little teasers. The other thing that I'm wanting to encourage you to do is to look into a little bit of voice training, because it feels like there are certain things that they are needing to see or to hear in order to get things through. And it feels like it has to do with pronunciation and possibly with timing. So I want to encourage you to do a little bit of research because it feels like there's a little bit of like honing and fine tuning that you're doing. But overall, I absolutely love the idea. Let's just ask some questions about when and how. Yeah, it feels like there are 3 or possibly 4 websites where you have your profile. And I'm assuming that you've got a variety of audio clips that you're going to have posted as well. But I keep hearing that you've got some sort of meditation that you're doing for yourself too. So like, even though I'm seeing people hiring you to do work for them, it also feels like there is work that you're doing for yourself. And it feels like you're just kind of fine tuning and honing the skill, the comfort, and with doing more and more. What do we have? I've got a contract that feels like it's coming up within kind of the next 2 or 3 months. 3 was what I had initially heard. So it feels like kind of within the next 3 months, we've got some contracts that are starting to come come in. So do keep doing what you're doing on a regular and consistent basis right now to bring in the funds and the resources that you need to support yourself. But this definitely feels like this is a pathway in a direction that is going to prove profitable for you in the future. But they're showing me that there's still a couple more steps that need to be taken in order for that to happen. But you're definitely well on your way. Let's take a look. What messages are coming up for you? We're going to the mermaids and dolphins again. I think all of the cards that we've chosen this evening have been from the mermaids and dolphins. The card that we have for you is have faith. Whoops. There we go. Have faith. Your prayers are manifesting. Remain positive and follow your guidance. And I don't know if you can see this card clearly because I've got some crazy reflection that's coming up. But basically, we have this mermaid who is breaking out of the water that's really deep and dark. And she's literally lifting herself up into the light. Again, you can't see it very well, but right here and right here around her heart, the clouds are really bright and they're light and they're like full. And so she's following her heart, but she's also very much following her passion. And that's where the faith is coming from. So continue to work on your manifestation. The same messages that I shared with Kathy for her daughter around creating bookkeeping books and having that second set to act as manifestation book feels like that's fabulous and really helps to support you as you're building as well. The other thing that I'm hearing, and I'm reminded again, when I first started doing this work, I had in my mind that I was going to have 20 clients a week. Even now, almost 20 years in, 20 clients a week would be brutal. It would literally, there would be nothing left of my body if I saw that many people. And so rather than focusing on, I have lots, focus more on like quality clients that are possibly coming and repeating on a regular basis, and to make sure that you're resting as well, that you're not planning on going full out. Because with this type of work, it can be really easy to get into burnout. And Becky, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. And I can hardly wait to hear about how your adventures in voice acting go. Awesome. Inspired to create question. What do I need to know about and focus on to have a breakthrough in my job search? It is Margaret. Will anything come through before the end of 2025? Yeah. I have something that's coming up. So I've got lots of little opportunities that are coming up through the rest of October and into the beginning of November. But I feel like you're kind of passing them by. I haven't done the online swipey thing for online dating. But that's kind of what I'm seeing is I'm seeing the swipey imagery. And so I'm going to say that these are things that you're passing by pretty quickly. So that says to me that even though they're showing up, they're either not what you're looking for, or they're just not in alignment with where you are. But as we start to move into the middle and the later part of November, I've got some pretty solid options that are coming in. I feel like we have 2 and possibly a third. So there are things that are coming in. So I do want to encourage you to be ready to start something and to kind of get up and running. And that's actually kind of the energy that I'm seeing. And I think I've shared this with you. I've had the pleasure of knowing Margaret for many years. I'm seeing the relay race analogy. So I'm going back to my elementary school days with this, when we would do relay racing. And if you were the second person, so that means that the first person has the baton and they're going to be running up behind you and they're going to pass you the baton and you're going to run. If you're that second person, you don't start from a stop. So once they're a certain distance back, you start running. So even though you don't have the baton, even though you don't have the job, you're running as if you already do have it. And then when you have it, you just go. And so that's the message that I have coming up for you, is to make sure that you are already in action and you're already on the go before you get the baton. So some of those things might be things like getting up and getting dressed and having breakfast and making a lunch as if you were going to the job. And I want to encourage you to do that over the next couple of weeks. So in that October, November time, early November time, when we've got things that are coming up and we're, those aren't the things, that's the time that you're preparing. This is your, okay, I'm going to start running. Even though I don't have the baton yet, I'm going to start running because I know that it's coming up behind me. So what this does is this says to universe, like, hey, universe, I'm ready. Like, I'm committed. I'm doing the things that I need to do in order to be able to get that baton, in order to be able to move on, to move forward. I'm in it and I'm doing it now. So that may mean that there's some changes to your schedule that you're making. Maybe it means that we're getting to bed earlier. Maybe it means that we're getting up earlier. Maybe it means that we're doing things throughout the day that are helping and supporting that. And so there's a little bit of routine that's starting to pop in. And it's kind of like the last couple of weeks of August when, bedtimes become earlier because summer break is coming to an end and you're getting ready to get back into the routine of being able to go to school. And what this does is, as I said, like, it's not only showing universe, like, hey, I'm ready for this, but it's also preparing your body to be ready for those changes, and it's going to make it easier. The other thing that I'm seeing is I'm continuing to see you working with like angels and ascended masters and asking them for help and support as you're moving forward. I've got Shamuel popping up really strongly. Oh, we've got a card popping out. And the card that we have for you is Archangel Jophiel, and her message is patience. Your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize. Still, they need nurturing and patience. And one of the things that I find really interesting about this, as somebody who is not a gardener, who has really black thumbs instead of green thumbs, is the image of this angel. If you can see her, she's got her watering pot and she's watering her flowers. So as somebody who doesn't do a lot of gardening, I'm thinking, yeah, water is something that seeds need in order to grow. But they don't need to be flooded. They don't need water all the time. Seeds need a whole pile of different things in order to have what it is that they need to grow. So make sure that you're giving your dreams all of the things that they need. And one of the things, as I said, is being ready to move on and to move forward with that. So it's not only about like manifesting it, but it's actually walking it, living it, and saying, yeah, like I'm ready. So take a look at other things that you may need in order to be ready for that job that you want, that you are working on creating, because it does feel like there are opportunities that are coming for you, and you're getting ready. And I'm so excited for you, Margaret. I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening, and I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support, and Archangel Shamuel's help and support as well. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Margaret. Susan. Hi, Susan. Thanks for joining us. Susan's just wondering about her health. So I need to preface this by saying that I'm not a medical doctor or healthcare practitioner. And so there's only so much that I can say and that I can talk about. If you do have any concerns, please talk to a medical healthcare professional. That said, I can check in and see what we've got coming up. So the first thing that I'm noticing is I'm wanting to move and shift. So I want to encourage movement that feels comfortable, that feels gentle. I'm wanting to encourage stretching because there's stuff that I feel like it's going on in my body from a tension point of view. And I am noticing that I'm breathing a little heavily. So I feel like there's something that's going on in my chest, but I don't feel like that's the main thing that you're asking about. I'm not exactly sure where you are, Susan, but if you're in a place where cold and flu season is coming up, I do want to encourage you to make sure that you are keeping an eye on your chest. So like if you do get a cold and it starts to move down into your chest, make sure that you pop in to see your doctor just to make sure that it doesn't hang out for too long. The other thing that can kind of come up with chest can be around grief and grieving as well. So just making sure that you're taking some time to honor that if there is any grief you're experiencing, recognizing that grief is not only about the loss of a loved one, but can be changes in life circumstances. It can be endings of relationships. There are a whole pile of different things that can create grief in our lives. And I'm wanting to kind of honor that. I feel like I feel like I'm seeing something around one thing, and I'm just, I feel it being like, yeah, I'm just waiting for you to hit on that thing. And they're showing me lots of little things that are kind of around like one bigger thing, and I'm not seeing what the bigger thing is. But what I do want to say is I am seeing you being really proactive with your health, and that feels like that's really awesome and important. So again, like making sure that you're keeping an eye on your chest, making sure that your chest is warm over the next several months. Movement and stretching. They're showing me water, they're showing me nutrition. So like all of those are things that feel like they're either things that you do or you're starting to do or you've been encouraged to do from an intuitive point of view. And that's feeling really positive, but I feel like there's this thing, and it literally feels like it's the elephant that's sitting in the room, and it's like, how are you not seeing that, Erin? I'm wanting to have something checked out, and I feel it kind of more in my torso. I'm just trying to check and see if this is like in digestive and stomach, or if this is a little bit lower. But I'm wanting to make sure that you're having that checked out. I do see that you are doing, again, as I said, like a lot of things to help to support your overall health and well-being, and that is amazing. Yeah, but there is something that's going on that I'm wanting to have looked at and checked out. November is feeling significant, so it feels like we've got some more awareness that's coming up in November, and this feels like this could actually be really positive. So something that's happening in November. So there's like a breakthrough. There's relief that's coming. Things are getting better, or things are starting to improve, which is feeling really awesome. But November is feeling significant. I'm feeling the later part of November, and I'm wanting to move forward with that. This card keeps popping out for me. So this is really interesting. The card that we have here is one of Archangel Haniel's cards, and her message is passion. Trust and follow your renewed passion in your love life and your career, which is a really interesting message to have come up around health and well-being. When I think of passion, I go immediately down to the sacral chakra, which is for women, reproductive organs and primarily reproductive organs, actually. And that's kind of where I'm going. So I'm really wanting to encourage you to make sure that you're having, that you're getting in to see a doctor and just having things checked out, because it feels like we've got something that's kind of lower in the body there that's needing to be addressed. But as I said, it feels like we've got some clarity that's coming up as we move into the later part of the month of November. And I have some excitement that's coming up with that as well. So that means that we've got like some form of plan moving forward. Things are starting to move forward. Things are feeling better. We're seeing kind of some pretty significant shifts that are feeling really positive overall, and things are getting better. So do get in to see your doctor for sure, Susan. I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us. And if it's okay with you, please let me know below. I'd like to ask Archangel Raphael, who helps and supports us with physical health and well-being, like health and well-being on all levels, but physical health and well-being in particular, and also helps us to make sure that we are able to access the medical healthcare professionals that we need, that they have the tools and the resources that they need to help and support us, that we get the appropriate care. So if you're open to receiving that, please let me know in the comments below, and I will absolutely ask Archangel Raphael to come and help you and support you on this. But it does feel like there are options, that there are solutions, and that things are getting better. I'm so grateful that you joined us, Susan. Thank you so much for popping on. Awesome. Bobby, hello. It's great to see you. Bobby's wondering, what do I need to know at this time for my best and highest good? You know what? If you want to ask a specific question, I would absolutely love to connect in. I should have mentioned earlier that we ask for specific questions. So specifically, what do I need to know about health? What do I need to know about relationship? What do I need to know about like money and finances and work and career? So if you want to ask a specific question, I'd absolutely love to connect with you and to answer that, Bobby. Awesome. Drew, hello. It's great to see you. Oops. Hold on. Got something popping up on my screen. It's okay. What energetic or practical blocks are currently limiting the flow of abundance and support into, I know I'm going to mispronounce that. So I apologize in advance. Bahramari and my work, and what is spirit asking me to release, to realign, or to restore that flow? Okay, so what are we needing to know about abundance and blocks? Grounding. Everything is happening in the ethers. It's all happening on an energetic level. It's happening in the ethers, and we're needing to ground it. It's like bring it in and ground it. Yeah, because it's great if it's in the ethers, but it needs to be manifest in the reality. So ground it. So anytime you have ideas, or anytime you do work around your projects or work around anything, make sure you go for a walk, make sure you're breathing into, make sure you're grounding that energy into the ground. Because that's the challenge right now is being in the ethers. So in your practices, whether they're meditative or yoga or energetic, whatever it is that you're doing, always end and bring everything into the ground, seeing it come into reality. And it feels like part of what you're doing is you are working, living, eating, breathing, living everything, and it is coming in, and it's being drawn in. Oh, this is where I wish that I had more yoga practice and experience, because I'm seeing this being a big part. But I'm being shown sun salutation, and it feels like we're not only going through the motion of it, but we're going through the energetic. What is it that we're doing? We're inviting sun in, we're bringing it into the body, into the earth. And so it's literally that practice of connecting, inviting in, bringing in, grounding, connecting, inviting in, moving through the body, and grounding. And the reverse as well, because we're also working with the energy of the universe. So like, this is what I'm wanting to build and create, and universe is like, well, this is what we can do. And then you're like, yep, and this is what I want to do more. And then universe, and so like it continues to build bigger and bigger, but we need to make sure that we bring it into the ground. In terms of realigning, there's something that you do need to release and let go of. It feels like it's happening on the physical world. It feels like it's a conversation that's needing to be had. I can't tell exactly who it's with, but we're needing to clear the air. We're needing to make sure that everybody is on the same page, because everything is being fine-tuned right now. And even something that's a little bit out of alignment, it needs to be acknowledged and recognized so that we can start moving forward with it. Okay, so we're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, because they're all about manifestation and bringing things together. And we're just going to see what messages are coming up for you. Oh, we've got 2 cards popping out. Got 2 cards. The first card is self-employment, and I happen to know Drew, and I know that that's part of the journey that he's on right now. You are a born entrepreneur, and your business is surrounded by magical opportunities. So I mean, like, everything is coming together. You've got support that's happening on an energetic level. The second card that popped out is the self-forgiveness card. Let go of old guilt and remember that you're God's perfect child. And I feel like it's important to kind of step back into steps outside of that as well, as we're looking at self-forgiveness. Part of humans coming here, part of our souls coming here to have the human experience, is the acknowledgement and recognition that we're going to mess up, because that's part of why we're here. Those are part of the contracts that our soul has. It's part of the contracts that our soul has with other souls, and it's part of how we learn. It's one of the methods that we use to learn. And so self-forgiveness is a big part of not allowing the things that you did while you were building and learning to hold you back, to prevent you from moving forward. And part of what I'm hearing is making sure that there isn't too strict a penance. And literally penance is the word. And so I'm wanting to ask you to do a deep dive, to take a look. Where are you punishing yourself, and ask where there's opportunity for forgiveness of self, and so that you can move on and move forward. And grounding. The grounding is the other part. Drew, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and lots of manifestation energy, because manifestation's been big for everybody this evening. Awesome. Debbie, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. In this moment, what is the most effective way to manifest my intention for the peace, oh my gosh, and healing of the people of our planet at this time? Debbie, I am so grateful that you asked that question because goodness knows, if ever there was a time in history when peace and healing was needed, it is now. Let's ask. So the first thing that I'm hearing is coming to peace within yourself. And part of what I'm seeing and feeling is that we've got ups and downs that are happening. So there is some healing that you are doing within yourself. One of the things that I've noticed for myself and for clients as well, especially over the last 3 months, probably longer than that, but definitely the last 3 months, it feels like it's been hitting really hard, is there's a lot of old stuff that's coming to the surface. And in some cases, it was stuff that we'd kind of brushed past, we'd moved on from. And now it's like right in your face. You can't ignore it. It's there. And rather than just kind of packing that away, allowing yourself to see that, hey, this is coming up for a reason, and to kind of see it head on. Because when we support ourselves, we support the people around us. We support the entire planet, because it helps us to release things that can be triggering. And so when there are things outside of us that are causing fear or hate or frustration or challenge, it can trigger us in here. And so instead of coming back to it with peace and calm, we come back with agitation. And so one of the first steps to helping and supporting others and to healing, to creating healing, is making sure that we're in that place ourselves. The next thing that I'm seeing you doing is I'm seeing you breathing every day. And I know you're sitting there, Erin. I breathe every day already, and I'm grateful for it. But this is intentional breathing, where you're intentionally taking time to breathe, and potentially breathing for those who aren't taking the time to breathe. One of the things that I've noticed in the time that I've spent on social media over the last several months, and I've been seeing this, is that people don't breathe when they're in this, when they're yelling, when they're angry, when they're fighting. They aren't breathing. So if we can all step back and take a couple of minutes every day and breathe, not only for ourselves intentionally, but also breathing for those who aren't, then we can help to slow things down. Because one of the things that can happen when there is a lot of fear, anger, and hate is a need to push, and to push quickly, for things to happen quickly. So the more that we slow down, the more that we breathe, the more that we can regulate for ourselves and others, the less quickly things can escalate. And the last thing that's popping up is the way that we treat others. When we leave the house, or if we are on social media, having compassion for ourselves and for others. And that can be challenging, but being compassionate, recognizing that we don't get to the level of anger, fear, and hate that we're currently seeing and experiencing without a lot of hurt being underneath that, and a lot of fear being underneath that. And if we can have compassion for the origin of what is being spewed, then we can start to come from a place of compassion, a place of peace. And that's where healing happens. Healing can't happen in anger, and it can't happen in hatred. It needs to happen in peace. And so the more that we can do that, and to bring things down, to slow things and move out of this highly agitated state, the easier and better it is. Debbie, that was the most beautiful question. Thank you. I appreciate that so much, more than you know. You know what? We are going to go to the angel activation card for that, because I feel that that's where we need to go with this one. So I'm going to ask I'm asking for Debbie, but I'm also going to ask on behalf of all of us what message we need right now to help to promote peace and healing for ourselves and for the world. What do we need to know? Of course, it's the Haniel card that came out again. So just take a look at this card here. I don't know if you can see her or not. But she's really iridescent and she's blue and glowing. And I see that she's holding at her heart here this crystal ball, this orb that is just, it's just beautiful. And so like I see with that, the love that we all have that is glowing, that's growing, that we're sharing. So again, like the message that we have, excuse me, this is Archangel Haniel. Trust what is coming to you, for the information is absolutely a glimpse of the future. Your psychic gifts are heightened at the moment, and it's essential for you to take the time to record what is coming from within. As a reminder, nothing is set in stone, and therefore, if your intentions change, you can absolutely rewrite, oh, I like that, what is to come, but you are receiving information that will serve you on your way. And the activation is, I trust my intuition and psychic gifts. So one of the messages that we had coming up earlier when this card came up for all of us, so it's interesting that in a way it's come up for all of us again, was to, shoot, what was it? It was right there and then it just left. So obviously it didn't need to be shared again. Well, actually, that is part of the message. So Archangel Haniel helps and supports us with our intuition, connected with the moon, connected in that way with manifestation. But she also helps us to feel, see, experience, and participate in joy. And that feels really appropriate with what we're talking about. So I would say, in addition to all of the other messages that came up, make sure that you're doing things that create joy, that create laughter, that create connection between you and the people around you. But man, joy lifts things up really quickly. And I really wish that I could remember what that other message was. But yeah, it will come back or it won't. But I do know we didn't talk about this. Rewrite. So over the last couple of days, I've come to the very hard decision, that I'm not going to be sending the Season's Blessings cards out this year for a variety of different reasons, Canada Post current status being one of them. And I was going through all of the cards over the last 4 years that I've sent out with the Season's Blessings coupon and invitation on them. And one of the cards from last year was 2025, and it was about rewriting your story. And it was coming more from a place of, looking at the stories that you tell about your life and making sure that they reflect the things that you're wanting to reflect, that you've learned from them, that you're not holding on to things that aren't serving you and supporting you. So not dwelling on challenge, but looking at ways that challenge was overcome and where you are now as a result of, and kind of claiming. And so rewriting the story. And that feels like that's a powerful message that's kind of hidden with this message as well, is rewriting what we may be seeing coming and choosing to rewrite it in a more peaceful way. Debbie, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening, and I'm so grateful for the question that you've asked, because I feel like it's appropriate for not just you, but for all of us. And I thank you for that. And I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, and support your way. Awesome. Ishika, hello. It's wonderful to see you. Ishika's asking about anything on my lower back pain. When do you see it healing? I've been in physical therapy 2.5 months now. It is improving slowly. Beautiful. Okay, Ishika, when I ask about your lower back, I feel like there's some more movement that's happening there. So I'm not sure if part of the pain that you were experiencing either limited your movement, your mobility, or if there was inflammation that was holding things, so things were actually tight. But I do feel like we've got some more movement that's coming here, and I'm wanting to encourage you to explore I was going to say the edges of that movement. I don't want you going that far. So I don't want you to test to see how far you can go, but I want to encourage you to maintain the level of movement that you're seeing, because it feels like continuing to move is part of how that's coming together. There is still a tightness. And it's interesting because as soon as I saw this tightness, immediately this tightened over here. So it does feel like there's some sort of back and forth that's happening. And even though I'm seeing side to side, this could also be front to back. So as something releases in the back, something may be tightening in the front, and vice versa. So I'm wanting to make sure that you're focusing not only on your back, I believe the lower back, yes, but also making sure that you're focusing on the hips, the thighs, the hip flexor as well, because it feels like there's a lot of give and take that's happening in through there. And I'm just seeing something that's going like this. And I don't know if this is a vibration that's happening. So that could be like some form of vibration plate, or it could also be like some form of like sound healing where there's like something that's tinging and being pressed in different places. Let me go back to your question. When do we see it healing? It is healing. It feels like you've still got another couple of months where you're doing a fair amount of therapy to help to support it. Like I'm seeing towards the end of this year. So we're November, December, because we're basically halfway through. We're almost at the, yeah, I'm going to say 2.5, I'm going to say 3 months just to be on the safe side. It does feel like we still have some time, but I am really wanting to encourage you to make sure that there's movement that's happening in that area. And I keep seeing like this. So like this would be like your hips being held and being moved back and forth like this. So there's some sort of movement. And I also wonder if that could be some form of rocking. And with that could come somatic therapy as well, which would be something that's more emotional. So I don't know if that's part of the healing that you've done, but those are kind of the things that I'm seeing up, making sure that there's movement so that there's some probably some stretching that's also happening with that. It feels like there's some sort of vibration that you're doing. So it's shifting and changing things. So either, as I said, like some sort of vibration plate that you're sitting on, or that there's maybe like some sort of sound vibration, like the tuning forks that are being used, something like that. And also potentially looking at some form of somatic therapy as well. But it feels like you're partway through already, and that things are continuing to get better. And then the last thing that I heard is just to breathe, just to make sure that you're breathing and doing things that are outside of your therapy as well. So I don't know if the discomfort that you've been in, the pain that you've been in, if it has significantly limited the activities that you do, but I want to encourage you to explore getting back into some activities that you've maybe pulled back from or shied away from, or to make sure that you're trying things, again, not at like your full capacity and not trying to see what the limit is, but just trying to see where you can invite movement in. Let's see, we're going to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and I've just got a card here for you. So this is Archangel Uriel, and this is a really interesting card. You know what to do. Trust your inner knowledge and act upon it without delay. So this is very much a claircognizant card. So this is claircognizance is one of the 4 primary ways that we receive intuitive messages and information, and it speaks to clear knowing. So thoughts and ideas popping into your head. And Archangel Uriel says, hey, make sure you're paying attention to that. I find it interesting because one of the ways that Archangel Uriel helps and supports us is with emotional healing. And that very last message that came up, somatic therapy, can also have an emotional component to it as well. And the hips, the low back, is an area where we can trap a lot of emotion. And so making sure that you're rounding out your therapy experience by exploring things that might be being held there. And it may not be, because you'd mentioned that you've been working on this in physical therapy for 2.5 months, and it may not be something that started when you first experienced the pain. This could be something that is older that's kind of holding on to the pain. So you can call on Archangel Uriel, ask him to help and support and to release with the work that you're already doing with physical therapy. and any other therapies you decide to incorporate as well. But I would encourage you to also just take a bit of a dive into things that you might be holding on to on mental, emotional level as well, to make sure that they aren't also hiding in there. Ishika, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, support, and healing your way. And I'm so glad you popped on. Andrea, hello. It's so good to see you. Yes, it has been a little while. Okay, so Andrea is saying, so I've reconnected with my first love. Not the best timing as we both have a lot on our plates. We have realized that love has always been there for one another. It's flowing well aside from life's hiccups. Do you see this continuing to grow into future commitment? Beautiful. Let's take a look and see what we've got coming up for you, Andrea. Yeah, so there are definitely the hiccups that are happening, and I'm kind of seeing them like rumble strips. So rumble strips are those like little mini strips on, pardon me, on the road that kind of make our cars go blah, 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 like that. So there are definitely rumble strips, and I see rumble strips extending out for several months. I'm seeing at least 4 or 5 months. So that's kind of taking us into the beginning of 2026, and possibly even into March of 2026. So we do still have lots of ups and downs that are happening on a personal level. But I do see the two of you each having enough time, energy, and resources to be able to connect with each other. And it feels like even if you aren't connecting in the way that people might when they do first start dating, it feels like there's enough understanding about what's happening in the other person's life that you guys are able to continue to build. Where are we going with this? I'm going into March, April, May, June. So I still feel like there's lots of connection that's happening between the two of you. Things do feel like they're escalating as we move into the spring of 2026, which is really exciting. And it does feel like there's more that's happening beyond that as well. But I'm not seeing like super far out. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you guys aren't still connecting. It's just that I'm feeling really strong and secure in kind of like the next 9 months. That the two of you are continuing to connect, that you're on the same page, that you're looking at the same things. One of the things that's kind of popping up is making sure that you guys are both on the same page in terms of what you're wanting to build with your lives, with your relationship. Like to make sure that you both have same or similar long-term goals that you can build with, because I feel like that's the thing where I've got some question marks kind of coming up. And I'm not feeling like it's a really big rush to start having a lot of those conversations right now, because it does feel like you both have a lot that's going on. And one of the things that I appreciate about the relationship and about the stuff that you have going on is it feels like you're each providing the other person with lots of support. Like there isn't codependency, which is good. It's just like, yeah, I'm here and I hear what you're saying, and yeah, you're there and you hear what I'm saying, and we're able to kind of connect and to talk, and things are happening, and like we're able to spend time together that feels like it's really low key, but we're building and things are feeling good. But once we kind of move outside of those challenge times is where I'm starting to see where there's a lot of openness. And that's what's kind of leading me to that question, are we on the same page with what we're wanting once we both move through the challenges that we're experiencing? I do tend to say yes. Like it does feel like that is part of what you guys are building, but it feels like that's where the questions are kind of coming up. And I don't know that that's really something that you can figure out now anyway. I don't know if this is on your side or if this is on his side, but the sense that I have is that somebody's priorities may be shifting as we kind of get through this stuff. And so you guys could be on the same page right now, but that as we start to move into June, priorities may be shifting. It's like, I want to do something that I never realized that I wanted to do. And so like, I don't think that this isn't a lack of like honesty, because it doesn't even feel like it's come up yet. So I don't want to focus too much on where are we going to be down the road, because it feels like one or both of you aren't completely sure where you want to be, because there are changes that are happening. So I'm really wanting to focus on, what, we're really compatible. We're really enjoying this time together. We've got a really great relationship, and it does feel like we're building, and that's feeling good. And even when this change thing comes up, it doesn't necessarily mean that It's not going to work out between the two of you because there is so much compatibility. It just may mean that there's some changes that are happening. And that could be why there isn't something that's really concrete that I'm seeing moving forward from that, because it feels open. It does feel really good. So there's definitely a lot of potential. It's just that there could be some pretty big changes that are happening for one or both of you. And that feels awesome, actually. So yes, the overall message is that things are building and that there could be some really big changes that come into one or both of your lives as we move into kind of June, July of next year. And that feels great. So we're just going to ask, what does Andrea need to know about this relationship? Interesting. The card that came up is the career transition card. This is Archangel Shamuel's card. Your life purpose is triggering a blessed career change. Now, one of the things with Shamuel is Shamuel helps and supports us in finding things, helping and supporting us in finding career, in finding lost objects, and also finding relationship and partnership. So Shamuel is definitely already working with you, with both of you. And that could definitely be from a relationship point of view. I'm also hearing that you guys had to go through a lot in order to come to this point and to be ready at this time. So I suspect that Shamuel has been working with both of you for quite some time, and that's really exciting. Andrea, I'm so incredibly grateful that you hopped on this evening. It's so good to connect and to kind of hear about what's happening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Drew, I'm so grateful that you asked your question again. Do you see an end to my relationship in the next year? Okay, let's take a look and see what we've got coming up. So this is interesting because it feels like there's some form of separation that may already be happening. Do you see an end to a relationship? I definitely see a change. You know what? I'm seeing more of a change. So the sense that I have is that there's already some form of separation that's happening in your relationship. It may not be like a formal separation. It could just be, we're just not connecting with each other. We're not spending time with each other. So I definitely see that there's a bit of disconnect, and I'm seeing change. That's the big word that I'm using, but I'm not necessarily seeing an ending. Which is kind of making me wonder if you've got two relationships right now, or if there's a second relationship for somebody, because I keep seeing change. And change isn't necessarily an ending. It can be an ending to circumstances and situations that aren't working properly or that aren't supporting us. That can be where change is coming up. And that's the thing that they keep repeating for me over and over and over again, is that there's change. I see change that's coming up for you in your relationship. And I feel, so actually I want to focus more on the feelings. I feel a lot of relief is coming up as a result of this change. It feels like I'm not thinking about things. I'm not worrying about things. Things feel like they are safe and stable. And I feel like I have a lot of certainty around what's happening in my life, what's happening in my relationship, and what's happening in my partnership. So, whether or not that's because of an ending and like things are really clear, or if that's because things have shifted so much in your relationship that, like there's an end to challenges that have been happening. But that's really what I'm focusing on, is like, as we start to move into like the middle part of 2026, so not right away, not within kind of the next 6 months, we're going a little beyond that. That's where I'm starting to see change happening. And I have this sense of like relief. I feel like I can trust again, that I've got support again. I feel like we're on the same page or I'm on my own page. I can't tell. But what I can tell is that there's a lot of relief that is happening for you as we move into kind of the middle part of 2026. And that feels great. So as I said, whether it's a change in the relationship dynamic or it's a change because there's an end, like I feel like I can breathe and I feel like I can keep moving on, moving forward. And I feel comfortable and confident in where I am and in the people that are around me and that I am supported in what's happening and what's going on. I'm seeing a couple of cards. I've got soulmate card that's actually from the Mermaids and Dolphins, and I'm hearing Archangel Shamuel, who helps and supports us with romantic relationship and partnership, like finding. But also part of what I'm hearing is that you're finding a lot of yourself, which doesn't mean to say that you don't already know who you are, because I do see you being in touch with yourself and with who you are. But there's this sense of like finding a lot of things that you may have been looking outward for that are already within you, but you're allowing yourself to see them within you. And it feels like that's a big part of the shift and change that's happening. Oh, I love this. So the card that's come up for you is the Clairvoyance card. This is Archangel Raziel, and his message is, I am helping your spiritual sight to awaken fully so you can clearly see heavenly love. Clairvoyance is one of the 4 primary ways that we receive intuitive messages and information, and it literally means clear sight or clear seeing. And a lot of people say, well, like, I don't see things, because Hollywood has us believing that, when you see things clairvoyantly, like they're big and it's hard to miss. But clairvoyance can actually be far more subtle than that. A lot of people will see multiple numbers, repeating numbers. That's a form of clairvoyance. It is any sign that you see physically or in your mind's eye that speaks to you. And it can also help and support us in seeing circumstances and situations clearly. And I suspect that that's part of what has already been happening for you and to you, and that this is part of where this is kind of coming in as well. So again, like there's this sense of like coming into yourself and also connecting with that intuitive level as well. Drew, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you, and lots of peace as well, whatever that may be, whatever that looks like for you. But may there be peace. Alyssa, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Alyssa says, hi, I've been struggling with a decision regarding my personal life, but I'm having a hard time moving forward and could really use some guidance. Okay, well, let's take a look and see what we've got. That is a bit of a general question, but we're just going to ask, what does Alyssa need to know about moving forward in her personal life? So I've got somebody yelling at me that you need to take a chance. It feels like part of the decision is trying something new, and we're kind of like stepping back because for some reason we're not wanting to do that. And I've got somebody who is just like propelling you forward. And it's like, now is the time to take the chance to leap. And I'm hearing this is one of my favorite little coasters that I used to have. And it's leap and the net will appear. And it feels like there's a big chance that you're taking. But what I'm seeing on the other side of that is that there's a lot of experience and there's a lot of opportunity. Now, part of what I'm also seeing is like I'm wanting to hold on to somebody, and the way that it's being represented to me is like a security blanket or like a teddy bear. So there's a sense of safety that's coming up. I do see this person being welcome to join you, though I'm kind of flip-flopping on that, because the more that I say it, the more that it feels like there's kind of a pullback that's happening. And it feels like they're choosing not to. There is something that's kind of coming back around. I see how this decision doesn't feel like it's really straightforward. It feels like there are lots of little things that you are needing to navigate in order to make this choice and decision. It's not just, I'm going to do this and this is going to be the experience and I'm going to have fun, because it does feel like it's something where there's potential for a lot of fun. There's a lot of freedom. There's a feeling, I feel very exhilarated making this choice and this decision. But I feel like there are lots of little niggles that are kind of coming up that are indicating that maybe this choice is going to have more impact on other people than just me or just you, including this kind of safety teddy bear kind of energy person that I have coming up here. I feel like there are other people that are coming up. Some of them feel like they're coming up from, I don't want to say a judgment point of view. But it feels like there might be a little bit of expectation around the types of choices that you may be making. And so like, I feel like somebody's expectations are maybe not being met. And I kind of want to brush those off. But I do feel like there is somebody that's needing you, which makes me kind of wonder if this may be some form of dependent, and like I'm needing to take those needs into consideration when making this choice as well. There is a very big part of you that is calling out, that is needing, is wanting to make this choice. And I keep getting pulled back and forth between these two. So I'm wanting to have a bit of a conversation. It could be just in your own mind, but this piece that's calling out to make this choice and to just like do it is needing change in some way, shape, or form, because it feels like things as they are not satisfying, and that there needs to be a little something more. So if we can't go whole hog and make this choice because of this responsibility, this obligation, then we need to do a little bit of something to kind of satisfy this part until we're able to make that choice. And so it feels like there are a lot of considerations. As I said, I'm feeling you making the choice. But if there is something that's holding you back that you need to take into consideration, then there's a change that needs to happen in order to be able to maintain the situation until you are able to make that bigger choice. I'm going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and we're just going to ask, what does Alyssa need to know? And I'm so sorry. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name properly. Oh, there we go. I have to laugh. Archangel Haniel has been with us all night tonight, so many times. Here she's come up in another card. This is Archangel Haniel in a different deck, and her message is moon cycles. Notice how the moon affects your energy and manifestations, and capitalize upon these cycles. So again, if you've been with us from the beginning this evening, we talked about how today was the energy of the full moon. And this is a time of manifestation. It's a time of setting intentions. It's a time for planting seeds. And I actually kind of love how this has come up for you, because if we're going to kind of compromise with that big choice, and we're going to say, okay, if I can't make this big choice for change, and I need to do something that's kind of smaller, now is the time to be planting and sowing the seeds. Okay, well, what does that look like? What do I need to experience? What do I need to invite in order to kind of satisfy this piece and part of me that's saying I want to go big? And this is actually coming up in a craving kind of way. Let's say, for example, you have this crazy craving for chocolate and you have no chocolate in the house. Okay, well, what can we do to satisfy that craving, given that we can't give in to what is wanted and needed? Could we do like a little bit of oatmeal with some cocoa powder in it? Like, would that be enough? So it feels like that's kind of what we're doing. So start planting and sowing those seeds for like, what can I do right now? As well as the bigger seeds with, okay, well, I'm wanting this bigger overall change in my life, and I see you being ready for it. You know, I know that wasn't like a really straightforward yes, even though that was the first thing that I was feeling coming up for you for making change. But it feels like there is some progress, that we are kind of starting to move in a new direction and in a different way. And it is feeling positive overall. Alyssa, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Melissa, hello. It's so good to see you. Melissa saying, I'm feeling a lot of energy swirling around me and it's a bit confusing. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of energy out there right now. What do I need to know about it now? So one of the big things that I'm seeing for you is it feels like you're finding kind of like your ground within it. So like I see you recognizing that energy first and foremost is swirling around you, and it feels like you're kind of identifying little bits and pieces of it as well, mostly to make sure you're identifying what is yours and what is not. One of the things that I'm seeing is it feels like there's some sort of filter that you're setting up. So um, I like to work with angels, but whoever, whatever you like to work with, God, source, universe, angels, ascended masters, other beings of light, whoever, whatever feels best and right for you, ask them to help you to filter out the energies that you aren't needing to experience or help you to prioritize them. So, for example, anything that is yours, you probably need to recognize and understand. And maybe, people in your immediate family and in your immediate surroundings, maybe you need to be aware of what's happening with them as well. And so maybe there's, kind of layers of color or layers of intensity that helps you to identify what is yours and what is not, what you need to recognize and understand in order to be present in the lives of the people that you love, and what you don't, and what exists outside and beyond that. And what exists outside and beyond that, is that something that you need to be aware of? Are there things that you need to do about that? Or do you just need to be aware that like that exists and that's happening? Because it feels like part of what's happening, because there is so much, it's confusing, because it's like, well, what do I need to focus on? What do I need to know about? What do I need to be aware of? And that can be a lot for us to function in, especially if you're a sensitive person. So ask your helpers to help filter out, help you to recognize what belongs to you. So you definitely need to know and understand that, and what belongs to others. And of the stuff that belongs to others, what belongs to the people that you love, care about, and who are maybe dependent upon you. So like kids and a partner and other family members. And then outside of that, are there friends that maybe you need to be aware of their energy? And then in community, like how much of that do you need to be aware of? And then in the greater grand scheme of things, on like a provincial and a national and a global level, like what do you need to be aware of? And what do you allow to affect you? Because it feels like that's one of the big challenges. And honestly, like I know that's one of the challenges that I've been going through and experiencing recently as well. And I'm sure that there are many others who are in the same place. So ask your helpers to help you filter out what you need to be aware of, what you need to experience. And when it comes to experiencing energy of others, even those that we love, I always ask to experience it in a little bit. So I think of myself as being on a diet, and on a diet, it's probably not appropriate to eat an entire chocolate cake, but you don't need to eat an entire chocolate cake to have the experience of the chocolate cake. You can do that in a bite or a couple of bites and feel okay doing that. And so one of the rules that I have as somebody who is empathic or clairsentient is I ask, I want to only experience a small bit. If somebody is in excruciating pain, there's no point in me experiencing the excruciating pain, because I can't do anything about it. So give me enough to understand what it is that's being dealt with, but not so much that I'm overwhelmed and I can't be of help, or I can't be of assistance. So anything that isn't yours, ask to experience it just a little bit, just a fraction, just enough to know what it is, to understand what the people around you are dealing with, but not so much that you're completely overwhelmed by it. And another rule that I have as somebody who is clairsentient and empathic is, as soon as I recognize that the symptom of an experience isn't mine, I ask the symptom of it to go. So again, like say that, we're talking generally like energetically and emotionally, but if I put this into a physical context, if I'm talking to somebody and they get a raging migraine while we're talking, I might also get a headache. And as soon as I recognize that this headache isn't mine, the symptom of it has to go. Because I recognize that, oh yeah, I'm starting to get pain in my head and I feel awful because that's what you're experiencing. I know that now. This headache can go, because if you've got a headache and I've got a headache, neither of us is going to be doing much of anything. So it doesn't serve for me to hold that. And the same is true with any other energy we experience, whether it's mental energy or emotional energy or physical pain energy. Whatever it is, we don't have to hold it in our bodies. We don't have to continue to experience it. So that's what's coming up for you, Melissa. Where are we going? We're going to go to the archangels, and we're just going to see what messages are coming up for you. What do you need to know about the energies that are coming up around you? I'm also seeing having a physical space where the only energy that is in it is yours or is really light. So it feels like there's a lot of clearing that you're doing. It's Archangel Haniel again. Of course it is. It's the sensitivity card. You're extra sensitive to energies and emotions right now. Honor yourself and your feelings. So when this card comes up, it's honoring and recognizing the fact that you are a sensitive person. And, we do live in a world that is becoming more aware and more accepting of us as sensitive people, but it's not always the case. And so sometimes that honoring and that accepting needs to happen and start with us first and foremost. And we need to just be okay with the fact that we are sensitive people. What else is coming up for you around that? And then also, of course, that things can be really heightened around the time when we have the new moon and the full moon, because everybody, regardless of their sensitivity or their awareness of their sensitivity, is impacted by it. And so it can be extra challenging and extra difficult for those of us who are really sensitive, because people aren't regulating themselves because they aren't aware that it's happening. So it just kind of adds an extra little bit of fun for those of us who really feel it. Melissa, I'm so grateful that you popped on to join us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. My friends, we have come to the end of our time together. I'm so incredibly grateful that you hopped on to join me this evening. I know that we have questions from people that we didn't get to this evening, and my apologies. I am planning to be back next week, so Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 p.m. Eastern. If you hop over to my website, Heavenlee, Lee, messenger.com, I just last night put up the email form so that you can receive an email either the day of or the day before. And it includes the YouTube and the Facebook links. So it's really easy to find when it does come time for the Connection with Intention show. I try to get to as many people as we can during that time. The other thing that I kind of talked very briefly about, but we'll be talking about more next week, is the change in the Season's Blessings cards. I'm truly devastated that I won't be sending them out this year. As I said, there were several different reasons that I decided not to send them out. And it's been a 10-year tradition for me. So it is really sad because I do love connecting with everybody in that way. If you're new here or you didn't experience the Season's Blessings card, every year I'd send out a Season's Blessing, kind of like a Christmas card, just with a little bit of love from my heart to yours. And I'd always include a couple of different cards that had something about the coming year coming up. And on the back, there was always a discount for readings during the months of December and January. That part I will be continuing with. I'm just going to be offering it, or I'm going to be sharing the codes and all of that information online, and possibly through an email newsletter. But with not doing the send out, I want to do something else. And so I'm trying to come up with ideas like, what could we do? Could we do like a Zoom Connect, and we'll do like group releasing of 2025 and manifesting for 2026 and what we're inviting in? Could we do, could I send out some meditations to you guys? Or Is there a different like intuitive development course or class that you'd want to do for a couple of hours on Zoom one day? So I'm thinking about things. I'm going to be putting it out to you guys as well. I'm going to have some more ideas, and I'll be better set up to be talking about it on Tuesday next week. But yeah, that is coming. In the meantime, if you'd like to connect for your own personal reading, I would love to connect with you. Just hop over to my website, bookingwitherin.com. Choose the date, time, and appointment length that works for you, and we'll do it. I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined me this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and I'm looking forward to being back again next week. Oops, hold on a second. I've got a special little outro. It always takes me a second to find it. All right, take care, my friends. We'll see you soon.